been my point that both silver and gold have been so cheap, and they're still cheap. Just continue to accumulate them, but don't accumulate paper gold or paper silver. Right. Accumulate physical gold and physical silver, because that's really where you want to be. You have exposure to the price, and you also have money that doesn't have any counterparty risk, so you're not putting your money at the risk of some promise of a bank or a central bank or something of that nature. And you're a big advocate of physical as well, right?
Absolutely, and always have been. I mean, it's the only money that stands outside of the system. That's why if things got really crazy, you would only go to one thing, and that's physical money metals, because everything else is dependent on a bank or a broker or some kind of electronic trading apparatus for settlement. Mm-hmm. And it's always got a counterparty risk of some time, mm-hmm. of some type. So that doesn't exist when you own the real thing. I say if you can't touch it, you don't own it. I mean, that's been one of my metaphors for a long time.
Yeah, physical metal is definitely the place to be. I want to ask you, with your free market viewpoints, again, the difference between physical silver and paper silver. What's the attraction of paper silver? Why do people do it instead of buying physical silver?
Well, as you know, I'm pretty well connected from top to bottom in the industry. And when I was in Singapore, some of these fund managers that I know quite well, I wouldn't say they're lazy. It's just when you're moving millions in and out of the market, they're not going to mess with the physical market. They're going to push that button that says SLV, and they're going to get in, they're going to get out, and they're going to get in, they're going to get out. They're going to leverage it, they're going to margin it, and they're going to do what they do. And for me to tell them how to run their business really isn't my place, although I try anyhow. Yeah. And so I think that's the main reason, is its convenience. And these guys are more paper bugs than I'll ever be. It's like, what am I showing on my return for my clients on a annual basis or whatever? It's a lot easier for them to go into some kind of hypothetical, hypothecated silver or gold investment. I don't like it, but that's the reality.
If we get a short squeeze in silver, are we going to go into backwardation where the spot physical price is above the distant paper price of silver?
I don't think anyone that knows me has ever heard me say this word in a market before. And of course, by law, I'm really not even supposed to use the word, but I guarantee it. Mm-hmm. You will see backwardation, and it may not be a 2-day or 3-day event. It may be weeks, not like 10 weeks, but maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks. Yeah. We are so tight in the silver supply right now, almost every commercial bar that exists is held for one reason and one reason only. Yeah. And that's investment purposes, not commercial use. So any commercial use that comes on top of the investment purposes that we already exist is going to force the price not only higher, but it's going to force it higher now because it's required for industry. So I'm really very, like I always do, watch the market carefully, but I'm more at the edge of my seat probably than I've been in a long time, waiting to see what's going to happen.
Tell me about the Sprott Physical Silver Trust. What kind of impact is that going to have on the market? It's just $500 million of new physical demand. Right.
So $500 million in this world is really nothing, but it depends. All markets move at the margin. Now, if my work is correct, and I believe it is, it's as accurate as it can be, and there's roughly 700 million ounces of silver in commercial bar form available. And there's 680 million like 2 weeks ago, and he just bought 20 million ounces of physical silver. We're right at the limit. Now, I'm not saying 700 is the exact number, but I want to give the correct idea. Yeah. If that's the last pool of silver that isn't already accounted for, and it's close to that, it could be that, mm-hmm. then obviously it's going to force the price higher, especially if he says, no, you don't get a year to deliver it. You get 1 month or 30 days, 60 days, that type of thing. So I'm really anxious to see how the market opens up next week with almost $27 silver as we're doing this interview. And what happens? Do we get a limit up day? We haven't seen a limit up day in silver in a very long time. And there's really no limit on the front month of the spot contract. Mm-hmm. Basically, they'll close their circuit breakers and cool off trading for a while. But you could get a situation of extreme backwardation, so people that are watching this understand what we're talking about, where to get silver right here and right now is going to cost you $35 the ounce, but you can buy the next month out for $30. Yes. So you got to pay $5 up because you need it or your factory closes down. And that has happened in the past, and I believe it'll happen again.
Yeah, that's the big difference again between physical and paper. We did a transaction for a customer back in August. He wanted $8 million of silver in Hong Kong. We couldn't find $8 million of silver in Hong Kong. It had to come from Europe. It we shipped it out there for him. He wanted to store it there because get some additional geographic diversification on his portfolio. So I mean, if the market was that tight back then, imagine what it's been since then with all of the additional physical demand. I have this view that the hedge funds are sort of targeting the shorts in silver because the shorts are vulnerable. They're vulnerable because of the CFTC hearing, the statements by Bart Chilton, the lawsuits that have been filed. And as a consequence of them being vulnerable, I think there's going to be a big short squeeze coming up. Do you see the shorts being vulnerable and the hedge funds may be targeting them for that reason?
Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself, James. I mean, you outlined it perfectly.
Yeah.
You're going to see such volatility, and it's probably going to be mostly the upside. I mean, anyone that's waiting for that big pullback, and it could happen, and it'll probably be a good one sooner or later, but I'm just glad I'm as long as I am right now. Am I going to add any more from my trading portion of my account? Maybe, maybe not. But honestly, this thing could go into the 30s, as you've already predicted, before the end of the year, and we could get into the 40s before the end of the first quarter 2011.